Have you ever thought why some people like Elon Musk and Bill Gates continuously make great decisions, good decisions that helps them in their businesses and in their life? While for most of us, unfortunately, we don't make so much great decisions, or most of the time it's just a kind of an average decision. Well, the reason is not because you are stupid and they're wise, or because they are wiser than we are. It's just that they have understood how the brain works and how human beings make decisions. So I went ahead and read about decision making from blogs and from books, and have come up with an idea which most of these experts use to make great decisions. And this is what they call the decision making models. So decision-making models are simply models that we formulate in our brains to make decisions about things going in and around us, and they help us to understand the world the way it is. So when you think about decision-making models, it's all about how we think, how we understand the world, how we reason, and how we make complex things simple. So we all need to understand and appreciate the importance of decision-making models and even try to learn decision-making models. So that's why in this video I want to show you some of the 8 basic or broad categories of decision-making models. These are the universal decision-making models that have been derived or generated by some of the best experts about decision-making in the world. And here we go. Here are the 8 decision-making models. So number 1 is the general decision-making model. And as the name suggests, this is how we generally see things. This is how we simplify complex things so that our brain can be able to understand what is going on. It involves the thought experiment that goes on in our brains. It involves probability thinking, focus, and simplifying explanations. The second decision model is physics and chemistry. Here we're talking about the concept of relativity, the concept of reciprocity in both social and physical realm. If you've read the book on How to Make Friends and Influence People by Stephen Covey, he talks about the concept of reciprocity. Reciprocity is simply being reciprocal to what something does for you, either in the social or the physical realm. For example, if someone comes to you and wants to sell you something, you'll always notice, firstly, they always give you something in exchange for whatever they want to sell you. So under physics and chemistry, talking about, again, thermodynamics, speed, friction, viscosity, and leverage. Now in business, it's all about leverage, and business masters like Elon Musk and Warren Buffett really understand the term and the concept of leverage. The third decision-making model is what they call biology. So you need biology, you need to understand biology so that you'll be able to make great decisions. And in biology, talking about the concept of natural selection and extinction, adaptation, the ecosystem, cooperation, and hierarchy. So these are some of the concepts around biology. Now, these 8 decision-making models must work in tandem. They must work in cooperation for you to make great decisions. They can't work in isolation or in one, or you can be good in one and not be good in others. You must be somehow good in most of these concepts for you to make great decisions. Now, if you think about it, all the decisions we make, everything that we encounter in this world is connected in some way or the other. That's why you need a broad knowledge on different concepts or different decision-making models for you to make great decisions moving forward. And the fourth concept under decision-making model is the systems. So you need to understand how systems work. And the systems here, we're talking about the feedback loop. For example, in corporations, we have feedback. Even in organizations, we have feedback loop. Bottlenecks and constraints. What are some of the bottlenecks and constraints that are going on in an organization or in your life? And then we're talking about homeostasis and equilibrium. Homeostasis and equilibrium. The law of diminishing returns. If some of you did business, I'm sure you're conversant with the law of diminishing returns, that everything increases up to some point and then it starts to decrease. And then preferentials. The fifth decision-making model is numeracy. So you need to be good in numeracy. And this is about distribution and the central limit theorem. Everything tend to move towards the center of the distribution, if you know what I'm saying. Then we talk about compounding effect. Compounding effect, I think people like Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger are so good in compounding. They've made a lot of money through just one principle of compounding effect. Then there's the law of large numbers. You need to understand the law of large numbers. And then regression to the mean, again, regression to the mean. And then randomness are some of the concepts under numeracy. The sixth concept under decision-making model is microeconomics. So microeconomics, we are talking about opportunity costs and trade-offs. We're talking about specialization and comparative advantage, trademarks, patents, and copyrights, supply and demand. So these are important concepts if you want to understand how the economy works and how to make great decisions, especially in business. The seventh decision-making model is military and war. So you also need to understand military and war. Now, of course, we've evolved, we've changed as human beings. We no longer go to war like it was in the First World War, the Second World War. But we need to have some concept around military and war. We're talking about seeing the front, always seeing the front, seeing more than what the map is giving you, counterinsurgency, and then mutual agreements. The eighth and the final concept under decision-making model is human nature and judgment. These are very, very big one because remember, in business, in your life, in your family, you're dealing with human beings. So you need to understand how the human brain works, how the human nature works, and how we relate to each other. So under human nature and judgment, we're talking about trust. We're talking about tendency to envy and jealousy. That's a big one. And then law of denial, social proof, again, How to Make Friends and Influence People by Stephen Covey. Social proof is a very important law or an important concept to understand. And then psychological biases. And then we have narrative, curiosity, and language instincts. Then first conclusion bias and influence. So there you have it. Those are the 8 decision-making models that you need to understand so that you can be able to make great decisions like some of these great businessmen and great successful human beings in the planet. Now, I know you're thinking, whoa, that is too much. How can I learn all those things in one sitting or in a lifetime? Trust me, up to this point, you already know enough around decision-making and decision-making models. I've just used maybe jargon and some specific words to describe the decision-making models. But where you're seated right now, even as you're watching for me this video, you had to make some decision and you used most of these principles that I've just talked about. So it's not like you don't know these things. You just need to continue to improve on them, continue to learn more around them so that you'll be able to make even greater decisions moving forward. And there you have the 8 decision models that experts use and successful people use. And I'll encourage you to make sure that you learn these 8 decision-making models. Again, you know them. You just need to improve on them and become better at them.